In this week's Life School video, we are talking about FOMO, what it is, why we have it, where it came from, and how to handle it. Stay tuned because we are going to get to the bottom of FOMO. Welcome back to another video. My name is Danie. I am the Peace Teacher, a hypnotherapist that helps you discover, know, master your best self. We use astrology, hypnosis, coaching, and all the fun stuff in between. So let's get started. Let's talk about FOMO. So what is FOMO? If you've been hiding under a rock, FOMO is a fear of missing out. So I want to start this off with fear, because FOMO is indeed a fear. And when I think of fear, I heard this acronym from Infinite Waters, Ralph Smart. Go check out his channel if you haven't already. He is absolutely amazing. I'll put a link down below. But Ralph, Infinite Waters, talks about fear being an acronym for false evidence appearing real. Let me say that again. False evidence appearing real. So what this does is it tricks our mind to believe that the information that it's being presented is the absolute truth, that it is reality, when in fact, it's false. It's the wonderful thing that our mind can do. It accepts everything, especially our subconscious mind. So when we are afraid of something, it's because there's somewhere in there that we are believing this thing is absolutely real. So fear is really an illusion of our mind. So why do we have FOMO? Where did this come from? How did this all kind of begin? Well, with most fears and phobias, especially in my experience as a hypnotherapist, I've seen clients work through fears and phobias where they've associated, where they've come about through the root cause of an earlier experience, of a past experience, generally in their younger years, generally in childhood. And so this past experience was something where you missed out on something. And because you missed out on something, you felt bad or some other type of negative emotion. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that you personally experienced it. It could be something that you overheard. Maybe you witnessed somebody experiencing this and you saw how bad it made them feel. So you said, oh no, I'm not letting that happen to me. So your subconscious mind, whether it happened to you directly or indirectly, makes the association that whatever that thing was, we don't want that to happen again. And our beautiful subconscious mind is always there to protect us. So what it did was say, okay, this thing, whatever this thing is, we don't want that. So we're no longer going to put ourselves in a situation where that can be. Now, to save us time, what it does is it generalizes to other areas in our life and other ideas. So even though it may have started with maybe an incident with a person, it now gets generalized across the board into other situations. And where I see this mostly, not only for me, for my life, but also in the clients that I work with, is areas around social media. I love social media. Social media is fantastic. It allows us to connect with people, to meet people, to engage and to learn and all of these great things. But yet we are constantly worried that we're not keeping up and we're comparing ourselves. And so this fear of missing out on whatever it is causes us sometimes to have some type of negative emotion around it that's been associated with something from the past. So this is where this came up. So we need to get to the root of what that is, of where that came about, so we can let it go. We need to tell our subconscious mind, hey, this isn't working for us anymore, which we're going to get to in a bit. So how is this affecting us? How is FOMO affecting us? Well, you might already have experienced it already, where you can't put down your phone because you're afraid of, like, what am I missing out on? What did I not see? Or we get those emails, which, you know, I do every so often, I will say, where you, like, the title is so enticing that you're like, oh my God, what is she gonna say? Or what did she do? Or what's going on, right? And so you're like, oh my God, did I miss out on something? Or if you hear somebody talking about something and you're like, wait, I missed out. What's going on? You know, and now you have this idea that, oh my goodness, I need to stay on top of things because I don't want to be the person that doesn't know. I don't want to be the one that misses out, right? And so this can also affect us in other ways. Like, let's say, for example, that you want to spend quality time with your partner. But what happens is, because you're so afraid of what you're missing out on, that you may decide to scroll through your feed when you're sitting on the couch with your partner. Now, you're looking for quality time and you're looking all for it, but it is right there in front of you. And we don't even notice it because we're so caught up in making sure that we're not missing out. Another time I see this is a lot of my clients say, like, Danie, I really want a morning routine. I really want to start my day off right and good and in a very peaceful manner or a very motivating manner or whatever, right? But then what happens is, as soon as the alarm goes off, which is generally from the phone, they pick up their phone and they see the notifications. They start looking through the notifications and bam, 45 minutes to an hour has gone by and you've missed the time that you had to do your morning routine. Now you're rushing out the door to get out on time. How else might this be affecting you? There's a number of ways that this can affect our life. I love to hear how it might be affecting you. Go ahead and leave a comment down below and tell me how fear of missing out, how this FOMO is affecting you. What I find is it stops us from having those happier, joyful, abundant lives because we're so caught up in missing out on what other people are doing and forgetting the moments that we're in right now. So how do we handle this? How do we let go of FOMO? How do we move into a space where we become the leader? Because what's happening with FOMO is kind of like sheep. You know how sheep don't really lead? They tend to follow, right? With this sheep mentality, we're following what everybody else is doing. And we often become the follower of somebody else's life instead of leading our own. This is something that we're constantly telling the 14-year-old of, make sure that you are leading your life and not getting caught up in what other people are doing. It's the same thing as we sometimes are zoning out on what other people are doing that we forget to lead our own life. How do we do this? How do we begin to lead our own life? How do we not fall into this fear of missing out? The first thing I'm going to say is, I probably will say this until the cows come home. I will say this, I will preach it, I will yell it from the top of buildings. We always want to start with choosing ourselves. And when we choose ourselves, we want to create the vision of what it is that we do want, what it is that we do desire. Because everything starts in our mind. Everything that you see in front of you has been created from the beginning through a mind, through a thought, right? So if you want to have a different experience in your life, then you first got to know what that is, and you've got to create that vision. So the very first thing is to choose you and create your vision. The next thing I'm going to say is we need to get rid of the attachment that our mind has made to this fear. So one of the things that hypnosis does is it helps us rewrite the story, the connection that our subconscious mind has made. We get to tell it, hey, subconscious mind, thank you so much for helping me, but I'm going to choose something different now. Thank you for all you've done, but here's what we're going to do now. This is why hypnosis is my favorite tool. Literally my favorite tool. I use it every single day. I use it on all the limiting beliefs that I've had, my fears, my phobias. I've used it in so many different situations for myself and for my clients, is to rewrite the story of what it is you do want. We always have a choice to do that. So the second thing I'm going to say is to get rid of it. Get rid of the story that you're telling yourself about FOMO, right? And we got to get to the root of what it is so that we can then shift that. So the next thing would be, after we've made our vision of what it is that we want and we've gotten rid of the old belief that we had around FOMO, it's now time to set boundaries. This is why we've been talking about boundaries. If you haven't seen, if this is the first video you've seen around boundaries, or any videos that you've seen from me, make sure to go check out the boundaries videos that we've done already. I'll put a link down below with the videos that we've done. Time boundaries, setting up boundaries. We have a hypnosis for boundaries that went live earlier this week, which is a great one for our second step in getting rid of the story that we're telling ourselves. So the third thing then is to create those boundaries. So setting up boundaries is going to look different for everyone. Now, it depends on what the vision is that you've created for yourself. If you created a vision using the example of spending quality time with your partner, then what you're going to want to do is maybe say no phones at dinner, right? Or no phones after a certain time. Maybe you guys decide that your evenings you're going to, snuggle on the couch and watch a movie, or go for a jog, or go for a walk outside. Whatever the thing is for you, whatever that quality time that you want to have with your partner is, you set boundaries around that to say, at this time, everything turns off and now we're going to focus on the time together, right? The other thing might be, if you're looking at the morning routine, well, maybe, when you don't use your phone as your alarm anymore, so you don't fall into that habit of picking up your phone to turn off your alarm and then seeing the notifications. I know for me, it's a big shift when I decided to not use my phone as an alarm clock in the morning and to use something different. Because when I did that, I didn't have the desire to pick up my phone and see what's going on, right? I just turned off my alarm and I could go about the rest of my day and my morning routine. It made a big shift in how I did that. The other thing I would say is maybe keep your phone in a different room. Sometimes I see people using their phone in their bed, in their bedrooms. And so you have created this idea that in your bedroom you use your phone, or in your bed you use your phone. Well, if you don't want to do that anymore, maybe you keep your phone somewhere separate. These are little environment shifts that you can make that make such a big difference. So I would look at the area that you want to create this new idea around, and then look at how you can change your environments for that. Another thing might be in regards to social media. I know for me that I changed my habit of going into like Facebook or Instagram, and instead of going to my home feed, I go to my notifications. Sometimes in my home feed, I would find things that I really didn't want to see, things that affected my mental boundaries. And so what I did was just go to my notifications and see notifications of certain things. And then I can just go to those. Or if there's certain people that I want to check in on or follow up with, I can go into their home feeds and see what's going on with them. I don't go to my home feed because sometimes there's things that I don't want to see there. There's things that, whether it's from a political standpoint, whether it's from, some controversy that's happening, something in the news, or, something that a friend or somebody posted that is just not in alignment with my vibe, I don't want to see that. I'm protecting my mental boundary. So by me going straight to my notifications helps me avoid that and really only focus on the things that I do want to see. The last thing I would say around how to handle FOMO is going to be about reevaluation. Oftentimes when we set boundaries, we change habits, we shift ideas, it works, right? We do a fantastic job. But then there comes a point where that no longer works for us and something else needs to change. Maybe you've tried putting your phone in the other room and that just didn't work. So it's about re-evaluating every so often to make sure that the boundary that you set, the environment that you've created, the vision that you have is still on track. Whether it's every month, every few months, even at least every year, look back at what the vision is that you created for how you want your life to be. and then see what boundaries have you set, where is FOMO starting to begin again, where do I need to start this process over again, and then do exactly that. Go back to the beginning, create the vision, and create the boundaries and environments that are going to work for you. All right, my friend, that is it for us today. Please let me know down below in the comments what idea, what tip you enjoyed the most. If it was a reminder, please let me know, like, hey, thanks for the reminder. Or if it's something that you hadn't heard or thought of, or maybe even a habit that you are going to create. And as always, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe as we have new videos coming out every week, life lessons, the things that we were never taught, and new hypnosises every single Wednesday. And as always, my friend, remember, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and find